Hi, welcome to this tutorial for beach effect nails using Halo gel polish. So I've prepped my nail here. I've done that by etching over the surface using the Halo Elite 150 file, just to prep the surface there, and we're going to go ahead and pop on a thin coat of base coat onto your nail to start with. Once you've got the full nail covered, you can cure that in your light for 30 seconds. So there's our base coated nail. The next step is to make a colour for the sand. Now you can just use Mocha if you want to, but I prefer to mix it a little bit to give it a more sandy colour so it's not so dark. So I'm going to take a little bit of Mocha onto my palette. And I'm just going to lighten that up with a little bit of French white. I'm using a dotter to take my gel polish off the brush and into the Mocha, just so I don't mix my Mocha in with my white. Give that a good mix. And once you've mixed those together, we're going to take a small dot of Mellow yellow, and we're going to pop that into the mixture there just to yellow it up a bit and make it a bit more sandy coloured. You don't need a lot of the Mellow yellow. And when you're happy that that is the colour you want, I might just pop a little bit more yellow in there. There we go. Nice sandy beach colour there. So, using my flat brush, I'm just going to pick up some of the colour I've just mixed, and in a diagonal pattern I'm going to paint the sandy colour onto the bottom half of the nail, like so. Pick up a little bit more. Doesn't have to be a straight diagonal line, because our sea foam is going to overlap that anyway. Once you've got a layer of that on, pop it in your light for 30 seconds. Once that's cured, we're going to go ahead and pop another coat of that on. So pick up some more of your colour that you've mixed and go in for a second coat for your sand. Pop that in for another 30 seconds. So the next step is to lay down the base colour for the sea. So I'm going to use Turquoise. And I'm going to pop that over the nail and meet up with the line in the sand, so to speak, the shoreline. There we go. Once that's on, we can pop that again for 30 seconds into the light to cure. While that's curing, I'm going to make up the colour to give us the wave effect. I'll just wipe that off there. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop a blob of turquoise onto my palette. I'm then going to take Bali from the Summer Vibes collection, and again using a dotting tool, I'm just going to take some Bali onto the end of that dotting tool and pop it into the middle of the turquoise like that. And then again, we're going to do the same thing with a blob of French white. Onto the end of your dotting tool, and then just pop it into the middle of the turquoise and barley that you've got there. Then what I'm going to do, using the small end of a dotting tool, I'm going to zigzag through those three colours, backwards and forwards and across each other, to create like a marbled swirl like that. And we can pop that to one side for a second. Back onto your nail tip, we're going to apply a layer of base coat again, but this time we're not going to cure it, and we're just going to pop it over the turquoise, not on the sandy bit. There we are. So don't cure that, leave that nice and wet. Now I'm going to take another gel brush, and what I'm going to do here with this palette here that we've made the swirl on, I'm going to scoop up some of the marbled colour onto my brush, and then we're going to lay it across the nail into the wet base coat, swirling it around like that. Pick up a bit more and swirl that in all the way down to our sand, and then you can leave that to bloom for a couple of seconds to give it that swirly watery effect. When you're happy with that, pop it in the light and cure it for 30 seconds. Now whilst that's curing, I'm again going to get my little palette, and I'm going to pop on a blob of turquoise again, and then into the turquoise I'm going to drop some base coat to thin it out, to give it a translucent finish. So I'm just going to drop that in there onto the turquoise, and using my dotting tool, just mix it around so that base coat and colour gets mixed together, and it makes it go see-through. Like so. So you can bring your nail out. I'm just going to decant a little bit of French white onto the palette as well, and then using a detailing brush, we're going to put some little waves into that ocean. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of French white onto my detailer, and I'm just going to sort of swirl those in like so. Thin them out a bit. And this is going to be the crests. Sorry, you can't see that. So yeah, with your detailer brush, you're just going to pop in some white lines like that and thin them out to create the crests of the waves. Then you can go ahead and cure that for 30 seconds. The Halo Gel Brush Cleaner is fantastic. It gets out all your particles of glitter, it gets out all the dust, it gets out all the gel residue. So it's fantastic for this sort of thing, where you need to clean your brush. So there it is at the minute. Then the mixture we made with the base coat and the turquoise, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that. You only need a little bit. And then we're going to go over the top. Now you can see it's see-through-y. So what the effect has is layering, so it gives the ocean depth. And we're just going to go over our blue bit again. Over those swells. And there we go. Once that's covered and you're happy with it, pop it in the light for 30 seconds. When it's cured, you can bring it back out the light. Just put my palette to one side. So now we're going to create the surf at the line of the sand and the sea. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my base coat again, and I'm just going to go across the join with a bit of base coat, like so. Like that. Don't cure it. And then we're going to take some French white scooped up onto our brush again, and we're going to go into that base coat and swirl that white along the shoreline. And what the base coat's going to do is make that white bloom out and fizzle out, giving it more of a wave effect, like that. And then I'm going to pop a bit more on there just so it goes a bit more solid there. And then you're going to let that bloom. When you're happy with that, you can pop it in the light again for 30 seconds. Okay, so far so good. So this next bit is really cool. I love doing this bit. So we're going to take our brush again and pick up a little bit of French white, and we're just going to go along the edge of where we just did the surf line. Pop a bit of white on there. Okay, leave that wet. Then if you take some hypoallergenic hand wash in some water and make some bubbles, you can see that there. Then what I'm going to do is take a scoop of the bubbles and just lay it into that French white along the shoreline that we've just put on. Pat them on. They're not behaving today. It's always the case. So when you've got some bubbles on there, we're going to pop that into the light just with the bubbles on it and cure it for 30 seconds. When that's cured, you can just pat away the bubbles with one of the lint-free wipes And you can see the bubbles have put some texture into that to make it look more foamy along the seashore. And this next bit is completely optional, but what I like to do is just put a little bit of base coat again on the sand side, and then I'm just going to take some gold glitter that I've had in the recesses of my nail kit. I'm going to pick a little bit up on my brush and I'm just going to sprinkle it into the sand like that. And then you can pop that when you're happy with it in the light for 30 seconds again. There we are, looking good. So the last thing I'm going to use here is the thick top coat. Now the reason I'm using the thick is because of the glitter and the texture in the bubbles on the foam. It gives it a nice even finish with no bumps. The thick top coat is really good for that. So you just apply it as you would the normal non-white top coat or the normal top coat. It's just a little bit thicker, so it takes any unevenness on the surface of the nail and encapsulates the glitter really nicely. Gives it a really nice shine. Thick base coat cures for 30 seconds, the same as the other base coat, so we're just going to pop that in. The thick top coat does need a wipe afterwards, so I'm just going to use the Halo Prep and Scrub on a clean wipe and just give that a wipe over, just to take off the sticky layer that's on the top. And there we have nice and quick and easy beach effect nail. Thank you.